Hello, my name is Imani Lilton, and I'm a cooperative extension intern here at Tuskegee University, and I want to share our experience on understanding the importance of soil fertility as it relates to the influence of the growth of nutritional value of forages. We understand that small and limited resource beef cattle producers face a lot of challenges, but the one of which we wanted to focus on the most was the availability and production of large quantities of good quality forages. What makes up the characteristics of good quality forage? Overall, we want our forages to give us a desired animal response. We want our animals to be eating our forage to well as digesting it and be able to stand on it as a nutritional base. Overall, we want to be able to witness positive animal performance. We want to witness these animals gaining weight, which means that is increasing the possibility of a profitable herd for local producers. If we're going to be speaking about forages, we want to understand the factors that affect it the most, which are its forage species, the moment in which it's harvested, and its storage methods after harvest. So what makes a good quality forage as it relates to beef cattle operation? Overall, we want our operations to be profitable, we want our animals to be gaining weight, and we want them to be reproducing efficiently. As stated before, we wanted to share our experience with learning the importance of soil fertility as it relates to the nutritional value of forages and its growth. And to do so, we decided to conduct a winter forage growing experiment to understand 3 applications of fertilizer and how it affects those things stated before, which are the growth and nutritional value. We had 3 separate applications of fertilizer. We have our control, which means that it received 0 fertilizer. We have our triple 13, which means that it received 300 pounds of fertilizer, which is the general rule of local producers within the 12 Black Belt counties. And then we have our soil sample, which means that fertilizer application followed that of what was recommended by the soil sample. In terms of our site, here it is in its before stage, and the reason why we selected it was because it had enough space for this forage experiment to grow. In terms of our hands to the soil, we did little to nothing, meaning the only things that we did to the soil were take a soil sample as well as plot out our areas. Therefore, we did not apply any preliminary herbicide nor any preliminary pesticide. So if you look closer, you see that green that's within this site area is weeds. And the reason why we didn't put anything on it is because we wanted to test the least amount of input for maximum output. As stated before, you saw with our site there was the presence of weeds, some of which are listed here and most common to the southeast region, well, the southeast Black Belt region. And the reason why weeds exhibit such a hankering towards the growth of your desired forages is because they offer competition to grow. So if you want to plant a desired forage and you don't take care of these weeds or you're not feeding your forage correctly, they will be outcompeted by these weeds that were previously present. In accordance with the experiment, we had to take a soil sample, and that soil sample let us know the nutrients that were available to the soil and the nutrients that we had to put back into the soil for our desired forage to grow efficiently. If we look at the 4th column, we see that we landed in the soil group of 3, which means that it is of a clayey composition. And if we move a little to the right, we see that our pH was around 7, which means that it was pretty balanced. Therefore, we did not have to apply any limestone to balance out the pH of the soil. If we look at our soil test results, we see that they tested for phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, and calcium. And if you look a little lower, you'll see an H, an L, and an M. The L means that there is a low presence of that nutrient in the soil. The M means that there is a moderate presence of that nutrient in the soil. And H means that there was a high presence of that nutrient in the soil. So correlating the test results to the recommendations, it was recommended that we apply 100 pounds of nitrogen, 0 pounds of phosphorus, and 60 pounds of potassium per acre for our desired forage to grow efficiently. And if we go a little further ahead, well, if we skip a little to the back, we see our sample designation, and it constantly says see comment 1, see comment 1, see comment 1. And the key of comment 1 was to apply 2 separate applications of nitrogen. If we were to apply all of our nitrogen at one point, we could be subjected to leaching as well as overgrowth, which decreases our profitability of our production. In order to understand our growth results, we have to understand the fertilizer in its application. For our soil sample, we gave 30-0-60 at 200 pounds, which means that they received the equivalent of what was recommended by the soil sample. And for our 13-13 plots, they received 300 pounds of 13-13, which turned out to be 39-39-39 of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So after about 3 months of growth, we were able to witness a stark difference in the 3 fertilizer applications. With our control, they received 0 fertilizer, and the height of the forage was so limited that it was immeasurable. We see with the photo that there is a large presence of weeds and a large presence of soil cover. Our consensus is that the seeds were on the bed of the test plots, but they were not able to germinate due to 0 soil contact. And we see here with our 13-13, we were able to garner around 12 inches of growth. And there are a couple presence of weeds. We see fescue right there, but you still see that there is an abundance of the desired forage. Now, if we can compare the control to the soil sample, we also see that we got around 15 inches, and there is an abundance of our desired forage growth. And we also see that there is a uniformity and just overall greenness in comparison to what's here with our control. Now with 13-13 and soil sample, of course their heights fall within the same ballpark, but the true marker of its differentiation is to compare the lushness and density of our desired forage. We see with our 13-13, of course we have our desired winter forage here, but we also have our weeds as well as patches of 0 growth. So that means that our desired forage was still in heavy competition with weeds that were present within the soil or within the test plots. And for our soil sample, those exact same weeds were present, but our desired forage was able to get enough nutrients to compete with those weeds and overgrow them. So if we can compare, I'm sure a lot of us would like our pastures to look like that of the soil sample. We understand that producers want their productions to be affordable, reliable, and profitable. And if we could play the numbers game, it seems as if the soil sample is $105 per acre and the 13-13 is $206 per acre. As a rule of thumb, it's costing producers $100, and the only differentiating factor is a $35 soil sample. So instead of using this general rule of thumb to operate your beef cattle production, it is suggested by this experiment that producers begin to follow that of the soil sample to increase their productivity and profitability of their operation. Thank you.